Amazing audience, we are live with LJ Hash.
How's it going, Angle?
I'm good, nice to meet you. Tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
My talent as a teacher.
Yeah,
right?
tell me more,
Yeah, my talent as a yogi.
Yeah, right.
Right, my ability to bring a presence and energy to wherever I'm at.
You did that when you came in here. It was like this peacefulness. It wasn't even because you were wearing white. It was just like, man. Wow, you're so peaceful, guy.
Right, I don't know. I think the white helps too, right?
It definitely helps, yeah, but you carry it all on your own, I think.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's what I do, and that's been the gift that I have is to come into a space with people and set the tone, set the mood. And that's super useful when I'm teaching yoga, when I'm teaching meditation, because the tone is not set in Dallas, in the world. It's busy and people come in and they're still going on with whatever it is that was happening in their life. And I bring them into the place and say, this is the place now where we're going to be here and calm and focus.
Who did you learn that from, though? Who did you learn to achieve your peace from?
Yeah, gosh, man. The funny thing is, I've been doing this my whole life, and I've only been a yogi for I've been practicing yoga for 13 years, and I've been teaching for 12 years. So after 1 year practicing, I became a teacher, but I was already a school teacher. But my whole life has kind of been like that. That's the thing that when I was in high school, I provided that for my high school football team. I was the spirit leader, had all the energy, and I was the person that people came to for counsel and advice, and not because some because of my wisdom, but some just because calming presence. They could come speak with me and let things out in a way that's, chill.
I think trust is something. Tell me as well. I think trust is something you carry. I think if I tell you something, I think it's safe.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
feels as though it starts and ends there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so then where yoga came into things, I was going through a time of great personal tragedy, right? My last grandparent, my nanny, and my last parent, my mother, were both dying, right? They had terminal illnesses. And within a month of them both dying, my wife also left me. Right, and so all this trauma was, hitting me at one time, and it was hard for me to even focus. Like I would wake up in the morning and just be like, "Oh my God, everything is ruined, is disastrous." And one of my neighbors took me to a yoga class at a place called Down Dog here in Dallas. Turned into Uptown Yoga later, and
Down Dog turned to Uptown.
Yeah, into Uptown, right? Exactly, and. I went, it was a physical class, a power flow, vinyasa, super sweaty, athletic, and I was playing rugby at the time and lifting weights and running every day. And so I was like, oh, I love this. But I recognized, after that first class, that not only was I feeling, good when I was there, because that's one of the things you can do when you're going through stress is you put yourself into a situation that, takes you out of the stress. So if you're playing rugby, you're not thinking about divorce, you're thinking about rugby, right? And so, but the yoga, that lasted after the practice, right? So I was still calm, and so I went back again and again and again and again, and I became kind of a pest because I would go after work, and then I would just go for all the classes sometimes, and then they were like, so you need to teach, right? And so so I learned from a bunch of the teachers at Down Dog and at Uptown. And my first teacher was Sherry Cherokee, and she's with Alpha Omega Yoga here in Dallas, and so she did 200-hour teacher training for me. And that changed things considerably, because then I found out, I got my first taste of the depth of what's in yoga, and that it's not just the physical poses, and it's not just the breathing, and it's not even just the meditation. It's all of those things put together, and it's science, right? It's not, I came from a Catholic background, and so when they said early on in yoga, hey, there's going to be chanting or whatever, Om and Soham and all these things, and I'm like, no, there's not, dude, because I used to be Catholic, and we said all these chants and prayers and whatever, and a lot of it was, it didn't have any, there was no reason to other than, adoration or something. And I'm not dismissing what the Catholic Church is about. I'm just saying, with me, I didn't find a scientific reason to do that. With the chanting, now I understand that there's a scientific basis that the sound, the resonance, the frequencies of those sounds do certain things to the universe, do certain things to you, right? And so when I found out that yoga was like that, it was science, then I became hooked, like more than just like I'm doing this and it makes me feel good, like it was you know, like you might do, like you might take your medication when you're going through stress, you know, you take the medication, which I was doing at the time. I got off all the medication after I started doing yoga.
Wow.
For sure. But then for a while, I was just doing the yoga as medication, you know, and I was just like, it makes me feel good, so I keep doing it, kept doing it, kept doing it, kept doing it, kept doing it. And then after that time, and then I got exposed to those other things, then I was like, oh, there's a reason why it works. And now not only do I feel it, but I believe it, because now I can share with people the science behind why does the yoga work.
That's good. So where's the best place for people in Dallas to connect with you?
There are 3 places that you can find me currently. At Oak Cliff Yoga at Tyler Station down in the middle of Oak Cliff. That's our new studio that I just opened up, fell on my lap, right? Crazy story.
That's great.
You can find me at the Refuge Meditation, which is over near Fair Park, also in Dallas. And you can actually find me a couple of days a week downtown at Trophy Fitness. I do a group class down there at 11:30.
How do people connect with you? Do they call?
You can call me. You can get online. Probably the best place to communicate right now currently is via the Facebook or the Instagram accounts with oakcliffyoga.com. We're still building that website, right?
Yeah,
so
it's
Oak Cliff
cool,
Yoga
man.
on Facebook.
I think people just want to connect, find out when the classes are, and get there.
That's right, exactly. So Facebook it, Instagram. I'll put up a post again today with our current schedule.
On this message, you could like type within the message the link.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
people can just like click and get to you.
That's what we want to do,
Yeah,
man, right?
that's
For
it.
sure.
Make it easy. So what's one other thing you've done consistently over the last 3 years?
Agnisara.
What's that?
Right, it's a yoga practice that, again, I dismiss because it's so simple, but it basically involves you exhaling all of the air out of your system, squeezing the abdominal. Can I stand up and show?
Yeah,
just
sure.
a little bit, right? So I won't do too much, right? But basically something like this, and you exhale all the air out, right? All the air out of the abdomen, and then legs kind of, there's a few other steps, but the basic idea is you hold it for a little bit, and then you softly let the inhale come back in, right? And then you exhale and squeeze it all out. You hold it. And so the idea, and again, that's just a very brief, right? That's not instruction, right? So don't do it like I just showed. But
he's definitely a teacher. He's being very clear that isn't the way, but he's giving an example.
Yeah, just an example of what it kind of looks like, right? Because there's a bunch of other things that are going on energetically in the body and with the breath and with the mind and all that. But the basic idea is that this place right here, right, carries so much of our emotions. Right? And when you get your gut feeling, right? Or when you get your heart broken up here, you feel that, right? Mm-hmm. Well, down here in the lower abdomen, right? And down here in the pelvis, so much of our stuff, right? And it builds up over time, right? There's like a residue of what we call chitta, right? The things that happen in the world, the things that you do, you see, you experience, you don't do, you emote, all this stuff builds up, right? And if you just let it keep building up, then it's an accumulation of everything that's happened to you, good, bad, whatever, it just is there, and it's kind of consistently on you, right? Mentally and emotionally, it's on you, you're carrying it with you. This practice allows you to squeeze that stuff out in a sense. And it actually is a very real process. It's energetically, you are manipulating the energy and pulling that old stuff out.
Yeah, I've done some of that. I've begun free diving, right?
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so we were doing air exercises. I didn't know the out of the water exercises were so important, right? The dry exercises. But yeah, we did some amazing breath work with, I have a coach, and he like, at first I was like, what are you doing, man? Like, what craziness are we doing? But wow, there's
a lot going on down here, right?
There's a lot going on.
And these are muscles that we don't generally use like that, right? Because when you do those kind of breath exercises, there's other things you can do besides just squeeze, right? You can do this way, that way, up, down, all these things, right?
And then, like you would see, like he's so good, you'd see that entire rib cage. And he will then pull in here.
Yes.
And pull in here.
And see, and energetically, yoga-wise, that you're stretching that stuff out, right? For easy sake, like you're stretching out the spleen, stretching the liver, stretching your kidneys, stretching your intestines.
Which is good.
Squeezing that stuff out.
Yeah. So I Yoga is the next step for me. I'm going to have to start it.
Yeah, man.
Because it's necessary, because these conversations carry a residue with them where emotions are being shared. Yeah.
Right, man.
Yeah.
So let's do that, man.
Yeah,
let's
I
make
love
it happen, right?
Well, I'm not in Dallas. I mean, if
but
you do
that's
online,
what I'm saying. What I want to do is
yeah.
online. That's why I'm here. I just kind of get
let's
some
do
exposure
that.
of what this is all about.
Let's
you know
do
what I
that.
mean?
Let's see online. Yeah.
Yeah. We can do a Zoom. We can do.
Let's do
whatever.
that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Let's switch gears for a moment. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful warm blue Caribbean water. What is your earliest childhood memory?
The earliest childhood memory is the television broadcast of the landing on the moon.
How old do you think you were?
I would have been, let's see, I was born in 67 and that happened in 69, so I was about a year and a half old.
Why do you think that memory is so clear?
It actually, it was powerful memory, not because of that event, but because my parents had another couple over and the couple got into a physical fight the evening of that. And so I actually, throughout my childhood, had this terrible nightmare of this, man beating up a woman, right, in my house, and my parents, screaming, and all, the trauma of all that. And in the dream, I would always remember, there's the picture of the moon landing, and there's our black and white TV. It was the moon landing, and then all this trauma. And so that's my earliest memory because of whatever. And
how do you see it connecting to who you are today?
Well, violence has been a part of my life for a long time, right? Not only was that violence there, we had some violence in our family, right? It's just a pattern that, violence is shared, right? And so that's been a thing that I've dealt with my whole life. And the reality of it is that it's not even the physical violence so much sometimes, or even the emotional word violence, it's the thought violence, right? And that's a thing that I've worked with my whole life, right? So that still resonates with me. Earliest childhood memory is this, example of violence and abuse, and then patterns for me through my whole life until I got to when I started practicing yoga. Then I was like, I can see how me being angry in my mind about things and violent in my mind, that affects me. But not other people nearly as much as, I end up angry face, angry heart, angry blood, angry everything.
That's amazing. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Yeah.
Yeah? I love the idea, though, that there are two places you can be. Like, you could be in the angry part, right?
Yeah.
Or you could be in the headspace.
Yeah.
Yeah? I just love that idea of the moon, and you could get away from it.
Yes.
And you found a way. You made
That's
a
right,
choice.
but it's hard because I still like to play rugby, right, which is a violent sport. But I have to be able to play it with a non-violent mind.
Well, let's look at it a bit deeper quickly, though. For the rocket to pull off, right?
Yeah.
It's very violent.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, it's getting to a space where there's peace.
I like it, man.
Yeah? So, unlike the other violence, right? Where there's against each other, but just wanting to propel yourself.
Right. Well, and that's actually where I'm working at my own personal practice. Funny you should bring that up. And the whole reason why the Agnisar for the last 3 years, right, is to build my own personal power, right? And so that I can have that rocket fuel and be able to direct it to do the things that I need to do.
Love it.
Absolutely, man.
If we fast forward,
reading my mind. Yeah.
If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Oh, when I was 12, let's see, that would have been like 79, man. Gosh, probably disco.
Right.
My mom would listen to that stuff,
Right.
in the car, and so,
Does the name of a song?
Yeah, I know the song, man. I'm just a little bit embarrassed to say it, It's a great song, Bee Gees song, How Deep Is Your Love?
Yeah. Don't you think that connects, though?
Absolutely, dude. That's why I'm a lover, right? My whole life is about sharing love. That's what I'm trying to do with my yoga, is to share love. And where is your love? Yeah, exactly.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, love for yourself.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Love is definitely the propeller. I love it.
That's the rocket fuel.
It is the rocket fuel. All right, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
Yes.
LJ, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
No.
Are you married?
No.
Do you have children?
No.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yeah.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh, probably less than 8, but getting close.
If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who LJ Hash is, what would you say?
I love you.
I love it. LJ, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Man, find me to practice yoga, right? oakcliffyoga.com. We'll have that up running soon. Find me at Oak Cliff Yoga at Facebook. Thanks, man. So much fun. Love to be
LJ
here.
Hash, thank you for being on What Is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Unbelievable.
Boom. Did you have fun?